Right, we've got another animation here from Lucas. So thanks, Lucas. Let's have a little look. Okay, so it's really cool. Lucas is doing Sora from Super Smash Bros, which recently came out. He was doing it before the announcement, so he's a bit sad about that. So let's have a look. Just specifically talking about the body mechanics things that I was talking about first. Let's have a look at that. So start pose is pretty good. A little difficult to see because his arms are there. I think this is working pretty good. I think it could be working better. This and this, this and this are pretty much matched. I really think you could probably have this hip more up. Let me change colour. You could have this, that's red on red now. Let's go pink. Okay, not much better. So I really think you could just push that C shape through here so that this spine has more of a curve like that. I think the chest pose is pretty good, and you could get the hip up just to counter that. And then through here, you probably, in this little antic that he does, I think you could probably get a little bit of reversal in there. It feels a bit from going from C to C shape there. And then I think it's nice that he goes forward here and drags the sword. But I think if you were looking at his headspace, it very quickly goes from here to here. So I think there's something different we could do. Alright, so our head was here. I think we could probably go up more and get this change in the body, which would be a bit nicer. I think that would still give you enough room to get that straight in there, especially if you're rotating this chest round. And then you won't have this really crazy head spacing where it goes from here, over to here, over to here. You can really just keep it here, here, and then it's just kind of rising all in one arc, rather than arc, 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 arc. And really keep that kind of the center and something to follow. So again, here, let me just delete this drawing. You can really push that so that the head kind of stays a bit more in there. Okay, I'm looking at contrast here because it's a very big contrasty pose. I'm thinking something like this would be nicer. Okay, let me just redraw that. I think part of the issue is this leg is feeling a little awkward. I think we could probably get this hip over more, which would still let you have this nice shape. And you can still have this in the same place. I think that's quite nice, working quite well. And it just gives you a bit more room to really get those arms to look a bit nicer as well. And this shape also will lead nicely through to the foot. And again, just looking at this tells me that for then this pose where we want a little contrast, maybe something like this is nice. I think the curve is a little broken here. You get this kind of snap in there. So I probably reduce the rotation of this a little, just to get something a little subtler. Because if you're going from a big, strong pose like this, to do that, it's really going to mess with your headspace if you do it too much. And then if you don't want to mess with your headspace, you've really got to move these hips over, which could be a little distracting. So I think a subtler line, like something like that, would be a bit more successful there. And for the antic here, I think you can really push this. You know, get his butt back here, up, rotate the chest. Get that flow all nice through that. Just a side note to really get that line of the hill working through there. And again, I think you can probably already guess what I'm going to say here, but looking at the headspace, moves over slightly. Let's get it over here. Line of action, reverse C. And again, having this pose here means that the head doesn't have to move as far that way. So again, we're controlling that headspace, especially in a game. I know this isn't a game where you're headshotting people and stuff, but in a game where you headshot people, that stuff really matters. So toning down that headspace really helps. And back to the pose. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, I think this pose is largely working. I quite like it. I think we could probably get the hips a little further forward. Based on this, it's kind of telling me that I kind of want this flow through to there, which means that the hip should probably be a little further forward. I think that would give you a nicer arc. Probably get the head back here. Feels a little awkward to have this big motion all through the body and then have the head jutting out forward like that. I think I'd probably just continue that. The antic for me is not really working. I think you definitely want a nice reversal through there, a compression down. So bringing that round and that round as well, really compressing down into this, especially because it's such a quick antic because it's a game. I think you can get a lot more shape change in that spine, which will then help the rest of it. This is cool. Again, looking at the shape here, I'm thinking hips maybe somewhere over here. That's cool. Just to get that flowing more through there. But again, this is where we look at the headspace, and it tells us that we're moving forward too much here. And we could be probably over here, which would then get us much more balanced. Okay, black. Okay. I'll probably get something a bit nicer for the legs, but you get the idea anyway. Especially because you can see here, you really want to be back there anyway for this pose. So that will kind of just help feed into this pose more, so we don't have this big shoot back of the head and the hips from here. So I think this pose is working really nicely. It's successful, good pose. So I think here what stands out to me is this headspace is a little juttery. Ooh. And it also kind of just moves at the same time as everything else, you know. So just watching that headspace, I think you could delay that, get this up a bit sooner, get the hips up a bit sooner, sorry. Just so that if you're looking at the shape of the spine here, it really doesn't change all that much from this to this. other than just opening up. I really think you could, get some compression in here so that this comes up even more and then pushes that almost. And then the head is dragging, so really getting a compression in here. And then this breakdown kind of then works as an antic up for this, rather than just a linear motion going from down here to up here, Just getting a nice kind of contrasty moment in here will help. That's a little extreme, but will help break it up. Again. Okay, big jump. Okay, I'm watching the headspace. Headspace is a little crazy right now, going from here to here. I think we can simplify. So let's go from here to probably something more like this, So we want to probably get that out there. Let's see if this will work. I think what this is going to do is it's going to keep, just going to draw this to help guide this. So I think, this is going to get a little bit of twist in your leg here. You're going to stay planted on this for a bit longer. Again, sorry about the legs, but you're really taking the weight off of that leg over there. And, it doesn't have to perfectly stay up and down. If you're kind of creating an arc which is going over here, then, maybe this one drops the head down a little more over here. But I hope you see what I mean by this very unclear drawing. But then I think, first of all, we're missing a kind of takeoff pose here. Again, I'm not so focused on the feet, but whatever it should be. I know this is kind of changing your idea a lot, and if you want to keep something similar, then maybe I'd suggest still coming over there, but again, just keeping the. But then this isn't as contrasty as the other thing that we drew. Again, I just think the headspace really needs to be a bit more contained here. Here we're looking. Just get those legs out a bit clearer, I think. Okay, so now look at this. Look at this. I really think this would be more successful if you're more down here with the whole pose. So legs over here. Yeah. And here I think you can see an example of a kind of S shape happening in the body here. So you've got this sort of thing going. I think that really shows that maybe these hips need to be that way, so that, just be aware of that. If there's an S shape somewhere, even in a breakdown, then generally it's not going to be what you're exactly looking for. And then here again, I think the straightness of this and then the sudden change could be a lot subtler. I think it shows that this really shouldn't be rotating as soon. I think we still want a curve there, which, just a bit of overlap really, a bit of contrast in that pose, and rather than just coming out of it linearly. But yeah, I hope that helped. I think here I'd probably want to go much further out so you have more of an arc round of this key. get it nice and clear in silhouette on every frame. Clear silhouettes here. Silhouettes. And this is cool. I like the smears a lot. And then just be careful to really pivot off of this. So this comes up first and then this stays in place. Just so that you get the weight of that in there. I think that's a transition thing where that key quickly pops back there. But just make sure it doesn't. Yeah, nice stuff. I really like the timing. I really like the poses generally, aside from the mechanics issues and the headspace and issues with that, but it's looking really cool and I really want to see it finished. So thanks a lot for sending it. Cheers.